What is up, folks? Excuse me. Welcome back to another live stream repair. We have got a couple to fix up here. Got a couple more than we're gonna fix today, but we're gonna keep it easy. It's getting late. Been pretty busy, but we gotta keep the queue rolling here. So who are we gonna pick on first? Let's see. I want a fun one. Let's pick 3643 here with what seems to be bad DC filters. Let's find out. So let's see, up first, 3643. Oh yeah. So it sounds like the bass still kind of works for now. We'll see if it needs a new subwoofer, but those DC filters have definitely gone bad. Hopefully they didn't roast it. So let's let 3643 know that they are up first. Here they are. And doop. Copy the link, paste the link. Alright, who are we going to pick on next? Let's get 3641. This is going to be no power. Let's get that up. Let's see. Oh. There we go. Okay, so 3643, then 3641 with no power. And then 3648, that's going to be a Dan. 3648. Oh, sorry. That's going to be Dan with no power. Then we've got Grant with no power. And then we'll wrap it up with 3659 with some bad DC filters, much like this one, I'm guessing. So here we go. What's going on with this pod? Ooh. That is unfortunately far out, far gone. And it's interesting, it's feels okay, but when we look in there, the voice coil goes from a nice copper to a burned. Let's see. Can you see inside of there? I don't think. I'm gonna get a good enough angle at this. Well, you'll have to take my word for it. Oh, that's a bad woofer. Here is a very nice and good one. Let's go ahead and tear this apart the rest of the way. We want to fix the reason that subwoofer needs to be replaced. We don't want to just replace the subwoofer and have to take this thing back in a few months when the replacement subwoofer inevitably fails because those pesky filters on the amplifier are what went bad and let too much DC voltage through the audio signal, through the amp, and into the woofer. Speakers do not like DC voltage. Looks like our 10 ohm resistor here is looking pretty rough. That's another common casualty when those filters go so bad that the subwoofer gets roasted. That resistor tends to blow up as well. Here we are. Let's go ahead and replace our 4 filters that caused all this mess first. Gotta get this on there first. Alright. Kurt, welcome back. Looks like we're gonna need to keep the fan on today. It's pretty warm out. Let's get these filters replaced. Excuse me. DC. Well, Yeah, I wonder what that could be for. I wonder if it's for like slow charging from a wall outlet. I don't think so. It's got to say something in the manual. Okay. New filters are on. Do we need a new Schottky diode? No, we don't. We've got a 26K date code on there. Those don't fail and cause power issues. But we do need to take care of that 10 ohm resistor. That's looking pretty roasty. Oh, jeez. It's a mess. Okay, let's clean this up really quick. That's what I was looking for. Alright, I don't know why everybody wants to call and text me right now, but I'm obviously busy. Can't they tell? Can't they see in their crystal balls? Alright, there's some semblance of jeez, we'll get there. Let's get this done. Oh, they left a voicemail. I can't be mad about that. Focus mode while I'm streaming. Yeah, I don't know. Thing is I usually need to at least know half of the stuff that comes in when it comes in. Oh, but I could at least mute phone calls. I don't know. I'll probably never change. Let's get this back together. Google Voice isn't a bad idea. I've already got a Google Voice number, but I could just reuse it for, I mean, I don't use it for anything. I just have it just you know, because it's free. Spare phone number. It's not a bad idea, and then I can have it up on my desktop too. That's actually not a bad idea. Shuffle hands, what is up? Welcome back. We've been at it for about 20 minutes now. Kind of taking it slow. Yeah, YouTube Premium, buddy. That's the stuff. I don't have Netflix. I don't have Hulu. I don't have Disney, Paramount Plus, whatever. I don't have any of those. I've got three things. I've got Apple TV because I have an Apple TV, and it comes with whatever Apple subscription I sign up for the family to have everything on their iPhones and what have you. But anyways, I've got Apple TV. I've got Plex for my own content, and I've got YouTube, and I pay for YouTube Premium. I've paid for YouTube Premium since, oh gosh, I've been paying for it for at least for 10 years now. Oh, Felix. Welcome, welcome. No worries, no worries. Like I was saying earlier, y'all don't have a crystal ball. You don't know if I'm busy or not. And I don't know, I get a phone call up in my phone and I'm like, whoa. I forget to save everybody's phone numbers, so it just shows up as a random phone number calling me out of nowhere. And I'm like, I'll deal with that later. But then I saw the voicemail and I was like, oh, okay. I appreciate you leaving a voicemail. No one leaves voicemails, and I won't return calls if we haven't texted before, or I don't have your number saved, or you don't leave a voicemail. That's just how I do it. I try not to even talk on the phone to anybody. I just don't have the time for it. I get hundreds of texts and emails a week. Sometimes it feels like a day. I can't imagine if half those people had my phone number right off the bat and tried calling me, and I spoke on the phone with everybody that wanted to. I wouldn't have any time for anything. Who texted me? That's funny. Someone else texted me. Between you, me, and everyone else watching, though, Felix, I generally just don't like taking calls. I don't like talking to people in general. It doesn't matter if it's for fixing HomePods. It doesn't matter if it's for work or not. It doesn't matter if it's... doesn't matter who it is. I just don't like talking on the phone. Never really been big on phone talking. I like texting and I like emailing because, at least for the most part, people are okay with, you taking a minute to reply. And I generally have more well thought out responses when I can take a second, of course, to think about it than when I'm put on the spot. Half the time, who knows who's doing while you're both talking. So, some people are huge on it though, like my wife's mom. She's just constantly on the phone. mean, it makes sense. They do legitimately have like so much to talk about. They've seen it all. And here I am yapping away for a few hours fixing stuff in front of you guys. Giant texts. My mom is the one that sends multiple small texts at the same time. Like, she tries to have like 4 or 5 different conversations at the same time. It drives me nuts. Bonkers. That is much better. Of course, on camera, over microphone, over YouTube, to whatever phone speaker.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Whatever phone speaker you're listening on, it's not going to be very noticeable to you guys, but that is fixed. We'll test it overnight, make sure it's good to go. And we'll move on to 3641 here. Oops. 3641 here with no power. Let's get them up. After that, we've got Dan. No power, A. Yep, no lights, no power, no nothing there. A couple of watts from the wall here. Let's get it fixed. Probably the usual dead diode on the amplifier, but we will see. Should you buy a first-gen Apple TV though? I just saw that question. I'm not sure if you should. I mean, I've always thought about it. One day when I go to Goodwill and catch one for a good price, I'll probably do it. Oh, first gen 4K. Excuse me. That's a tough call. I was really happy with my first gen Apple TV 4K. So much so that I bought the latest one when that came out. And I'm just as happy with it. It's noticeably faster at everything, but I didn't have any issues with my last gen handling anything either. You can get it for a good deal, and you have a good use for its 4K output. If you would use it, then yeah. Very handy little streaming boxes to have. Subwoofer's in great shape. That foam gasket, we'll replace that on the way back together. Alright. Here we go. We'll give it some new filters first, and then we'll flip it around and fix the power issue. Reason why we replace these filters in every HomePod that we take apart is because they are ceramic capacitors, And all ceramic capacitors naturally go bad over time. They decay. Whether they're being used or not, they'll go bad. The ones that Apple used seem to be not so great. So we like to stay ahead of those death farts issues and roasted subwoofers like what we just fixed on the last HomePod. Happens often enough that it warrants replacing them. Preventatively. Beautiful. And now for a new Schottky diode. Of course, a 48K date code. That's what went bad and caused their power issue. We'll get it replaced with a brand new one. It was only a bad batch of diodes that are going bad and thus causing these problems. But the replacement is technically a higher quality, bigger, better, stronger one. So in any case, it is very much fixed after this, and it won't happen again. Yeah, a monitor from around that age, 2010s, it was probably trying to be a thin monitor, and one of the ways they would do that is by making the power adapter external. But I think maybe you're more talking about the fact that it's specifically 12 volts. I want to say I've seen a few monitors, older ones, like they're around that age, that didn't pull too much power, but 12 volts is a pretty common. I feel like it's a fairly common voltage to see across stuff like that. I wonder what my LG ultra wide power brick is rated for. It's probably 12 volts as well. It uses an external power adapter too. What was the Apple 30-inch cinema displays voltage, DC voltage for the power supply out? Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I've still got my old Meanwell power supply here when I used to run a couple of 30-inch Apple Cinema displays. What was this? 30 volts? 38 volts? I can't remember. I took the plate off, so I don't know what it was rated for. Silly me. Kurt, do you not have a bunch of 12-volt DC bricks just sitting around? Or maybe a whole bin of them? Waiting for that one day. That one thing.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Perfect. It's time for Dan's HomePod with, yep, no power. And then coming up next is going to be Grant. So let's see here, no lights, no power. A couple of watts from the wall. Gosh, it's probably going to be the exact same. Let's dive in. Dan, is that you? Welcome, welcome. Just in time. How long would your monitor run if you connected it straight to a car battery? Maybe a few hours. It's just a crude, rough estimate. I mean, a few hours. It depends a lot on how much power your monitor actually draws and what the capacity of your battery is. Because, I mean, car batteries vary greatly in size too. You've got small ones and then you've got big ones that are twice as big as the small ones, if not bigger. So, but I would say, like, just throw in a very rough, a few hours. Imagine, like, how long your monitor would run on a UPS, like a backup UPS. And then just multiply the size of the battery inside one of those. Roughly about scale it up how big your car battery is, and that's about how long it would run. Volts, 2.5 amps. Yeah, that would actually be, that's a lot less than I thought. Well, then you'd probably be able to run it for, I mean, maybe upwards of like 24, 48 hours, maybe even. Maybe. I might be totally off there. You could, I imagine Googling it would probably give you a better answer, though. A more educated guess. It's actually really, really easy math because your monitor's already only 12 volts and your car battery is 12 volts. So you'd literally just take how many amps your car battery is, and you would divide that by no, I don't think that's actually how to do that. I'd have to look it up. I'm a fool. I looked this up like just a few days ago too. But like, I remember that about 0.8 amps from a 680 cold cranking amp car battery would run for about 70 hours. So, twice that, 1.4, twice 3, so 3 times that. Yeah, well, a day would be a stretch actually. I take that 2 days back. You would get probably 12 to 20 hours out of it. That's my final guess. 12 to 20 hours. But again, heavily dependent on how big your car battery is, of course. Alright, same drill. We're gonna get this new filters, keep those death parts away, and then we'll fix that power issue. Beautiful. Alright, let's get that diode fixed. Ooh, looking kinda... Go ahead and Just reflow all of that just for kicks. And there we go. Yes, the clear stuff, the fluid, that is flux. You were right, Shuffle Hands. Flux is absolutely critical in quality soldering. Without flux, your life is much more difficult. Flux, so basically what happens is when you're trying to solder two things together, usually the alloys, or usually the things that you're trying to solder together, i.e. copper pads, and the solder, the surface will oxidize, and that will prevent new solder from flowing and creating an actual true alloy bond. You hear the term cold solder joints thrown around all the time. You can imagine trying to solder things together without using flux is like holding hands like this. And like, it's very easy. Sure, they're making a connection, but they're very easy to break apart. With flux, what flux does is it removes the oxidation that immediately builds up on the surface layers of what you're soldering together. And it allows the solder to actually flow into and through your components and create a true new alloy bond that won't break apart. And it works it kicks in as soon as you start to heat it up. So you apply your flux to what it is that you're trying to solder, and then you heat it up, and the heat will activate the flux and react with the corrosion and remove it from your board. It also helps keep your components in place. Keeps them from flying off the board until the solder melts, and the surface tension of the solder is what holds stuff to the board after that, until things solidify. This, we do not need to remove. This is the good stuff. This is nanoflux paste. It's perfectly clear. It's no clean, of course. To each their own. You can clean, no cleanup, or you can leave it around. Obviously, I'm a little lazy. I tend to leave it around. One day maybe when we don't have so much to go through and work through, we will clean the boards. But in my experience too, I'm a bit of a Brutus and I end up breaking things too often when I try to clean the boards. But this flux is excellent. I have never used a flux before, and you see it yourself. It does not produce any smoke. And it's no clean. It's got just absolutely no resistance whatsoever. And it is perfectly clear, as you can see. I love this stuff. It's so cheap too. Now, on the other hand, if this was a laptop or some other device that where this wasn't sealed internally, I'd probably think twice about cleaning it up, even though it's no clean. But because it is sealed, nothing's getting in, nothing's getting out. If anything's getting in or out, you've got problems. And you'll hear it too. You thought death farts were bad. Every time the bass hits, if you've got a leak in one of these gaskets, it's like death farts on steroids. Back in my day, we'd clean with diclodomethane. I probably butchered that pronunciation. That sounds awesome too. No, you're absolutely right in that, because lots of flux. I mean, even still, a lot of flux out there today. You got to be careful. That's why you don't want to just buy any cheap crap. But lots of flux. Pretty much, as far as I know, all flux back in like the day, you had to clean it up because it pretty much immediately, opposite to what you use it for, as soon as you take the heat away, it'll start to contribute to oxidization again. So as soon as you are done soldering, you're supposed to clean it up. But we darn kids these days, we've got fancy no clean stuff. Dichloromethane. Okay, that sounds way more familiar. If anybody has any concerns with me leaving the flux inside of your HomePod, I am happy to clean it out upon request before we ship them back out to folks. Most people don't care though. I'm not going to risk it for the biscuit if people don't care. Alright, one thing that we will be cleaning up before we send it back though, this mesh is still pretty dusty. I'll hit it with my my super turbo, plug it in the wall air duster, get it all nice and cleaned, at least on the outside for him. Can I repair the second gen? Yours keeps going off when you don't touch it. Ah yes, you've got the infamous phantom touch issues. I can't fix it yet. Some people take theirs apart and they just unplug the touch panel and live without any touch input, which works. But I'm still working with someone to get replacement touch panels, so I can't fix them yet, but we will be able to soon, hopefully. Your first gens never did that. Yep. The first gens are an entirely different construction and design. It's like comparing the problems of a 1990 Toyota Camry to a 2011 Toyota Camry. Sure, they've got 4 wheels, a steering wheel, 4 doors, and a lot of similarities, but under the hood, fundamentally different. In this household, we only like first-gen homepods. We don't like second-gens around here.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Well, there we go. Another one saved. Here's gonna be Grant. And then last up after Grant is going to be number 3659. They've got bad DC filters. Let's see. Alright. Let's get Grant's name up there. Yes, Mr. Dan, our pleasure as always. And like I said, if you want, don't feel bad at all. We are more than happy to crack that back open and clean the flux out before we send it back to you if that bothers you whatsoever. If not, feel free to take our word for it. This is some pretty good stuff, and it won't give you any problems if we leave it in there. let's move on to Grant's HomePod here with no power, no lights, no nothing. A couple of watts from the wall. Goodness, it's probably going to be, yeah, you guessed it, the exact same repair. Probably a dead diode. We're going to give it some new filters and a new subwoofer gasket, of course, while we've got it. Here we go. My Gen 2 is pretty useless because it just starts playing music in the middle of the night. Yeah, ouch. I mean, I don't know how comfortable and confident you are at taking it apart yourself. But I'm hoping we can get our hands on these replacement touch panels for the second gens soon, and we can start offering repairs for those problems, because I've got at least 100 or so people that have reached out to me over the past year or so, and I'm sure there are thousands more waiting. A whole new pandemic for pods. They just they couldn't let us rest with if we fixed all of the first gens. They said, hey, here's a whole new generation with a whole new set of problems. No, that is okay, because what we don't know yet is how many units are really actually affected versus how many were sold. It could be one of those cases where it seems like a lot of them are affected, class action lawsuit territory, but in reality only a small fraction of the percentage are affected, and it's really not as widespread of an issue as it really is. I can't believe I'm saying that. I highly doubt it, but can you not use a Gen 1 panel? No. Unfortunately, not a single speaker, screw, or piece of plastic will swap or is compatible between a first gen and second gen HomePod. Literally, the only part that the entire two generations share is this little guy right here. You'll see him pop up in a second, or in a few minutes rather. But everything else is totally different between the two generations, and they don't swap together. Kind of going back to the Toyota Camry comparison, it'd be like trying to use the windshield from a 1990 Toyota Camry in your 2020 Toyota Camry. I don't think Apple will ever drop support for them. If we base that assumption off their track record with the Airport Express, you've got all of the Airport Express products that to this day you can and the time capsule stuff too. All of that stuff you can reset them to factory defaults, set them up and use them just like day one. Well, not like day one, but as good as new, or as good as the day that they were still supported, I should say. That's there we go. But certain products, Apple, I think the HomePod falls right under that category, because also look at the release, like the lifespan, how long in between generations they go. So if it took them so many years to go from the first gen to the second gen, it's going to be so many more years before they go to a third gen, but also a sign that software support is going to be longer lasting. That said, I do also think that any kind of Apple's no longer supporting these will simply mean anything that connects to the internet to do anything won't work. But like AirPlay from your phone, it does a lot of other stuff that doesn't need to reach the internet to work. And for a lot of people that bought a lot of these and paid a lot of money for them to fill their house up with them and have like a whole home audio system, it won't make a difference to them if they stop getting software updates. They're still gonna let you AirPlay to them with or without internet. Sure, the content that you're AirPlaying to them, whatever device you're AirPlaying to them from, obviously will need either the content downloaded and locally accessible, or your device will need internet. But I think you'll get what I'm saying. But also look at they are on the flip side, a lot of the software updates that they push to the older phones and iPads tend to really slow them down, but they still software support them for way longer than a lot of other devices do, or manufacturers. Perfect. Alright, let's get that dead diode out of here. before 8K date code, of course. Exactly. So I think we're in good long-term standing with a lot of HomePod functionality. Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's funny. It's kind of funny because some people were complaining about Apple having used old hardware when to make these things, like they were reusing like overstock iPhone 6 parts essentially. But at the end of the day, it's all, like you said, kind of overkill for all it needs to do. But that said, plenty of headroom for future features. At least software features. Yeah, the hope and dream was to have some sort of smarter voice assistant. But heck, even the second gens and the minis don't seem to be getting any of that anytime soon. Like, I never use the voice assistant on any of my phone, my iPad, my MacBook. But I do on my iPad or my HomePods. It's quite useful. Especially when I got my hands full or I don't have my phone near me. And like when I'm at home, I don't care to yell. I don't care to yell what I want done to my speakers. But when I'm out in public or if I'm at work or anywhere else, yeah, it's kind of weird to talk to my phone and ask it to do something for me. can I repair the Mini or same? It's the same exact situation with the Mini. And it is the same defect in the Mini and the second gen HomePod because the way that they manufactured the touch panels between the Mini and the second gen are basically the same. It's basically just a shrunk down version of the second gen touch panel. Different to the touch panel on the first gen. It's just completely, entirely, totally different.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
But I probably will never offer mainstream HomePod Mini repairs just because they're so small and fiddly to mess with, and frankly I would have to charge about as much as I charge for the big sized HomePods to fix them for how much time and effort they take to work on. Plus, for that much you could buy one or even a couple of used ones, so most people wouldn't even bother. Alright, so the last pod for the day. Excuse me. Grant. Yes. Yes, glad you could make it. And we'll follow up, of course, after the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Let's see what's going on here. I have a feeling it's going to be no base at all.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the home app.
Sure enough. And I don't hear any popping or clicking whatsoever. So I'm going to guess that it's not going to be a subwoofer or filter issue that roasted the woofer. I'm going to guess we've probably got a random issue somewhere else on the amplifier board. Let's try to get this apart without, frankly, I've got so many parts that are, far from perfect, but in better shape than this, that I'm kind of tempted to just swap the parts out for him and not charge him anything for it, just because nobody wants to pay for some of this other stuff I've got sitting around. But again, it's much better than what they've got here, so I hope they won't mind if we do that for them. But let's get this knocked out. Cause yeah, that's what I figured. It's not gonna stay in one piece getting it apart. No big deal. Yeah, the white HomePod looks the best new, but the space gray HomePods definitely age better and take dirt better. Alright, well, we could almost put that in our pile of colored tops over here and use it as a almost use it as an example. What else do I have around here for them that'll work better? Nah. That one looks pretty good. The only issue I can see with this one, you can't even see it on camera, but there's just a couple of tiny scratches, like dimples almost right here. Far better than what they had. And I'm sure they won't complain for the price. think we've got a bit of a broken speaker grill here too. This HomePod's been through it, huh? There's our broken bit. Didn't Apple cut the drawstrings too short on the Gen 2? They did. They made the Gen 2 so much easier to repair, and then they turned around and then they cut the drawstrings too short. Because they know it's going to be a pain in the ass for anybody fixing it at home. But if you work for the Apple factory, it's a trivial matter to put a new mesh on there or feed the drawstring back through with their production line, or however they put those things together. Dick move, Apple. Not cool. Alright, I've got another not so boogered up basket here that we can keep things reasonably reattached. It's absolutely 100,000% intentional that they cut them too short. It's just, and you can even see in the metal base plate where they put a spot for, they thought about making them long enough. They thought about leaving them long enough. Oh, I was mistaken. That woofer is roasted. That woofer's gone. Is it gonna work with another one? Alright, I've got another one here. Again, it's a little dirty. We might be able to clean that up a little bit, but it's way better than what's going on here. But also, it's got a good subwoofer. So we're gonna rip that out of this real quick. You're having troubles getting those bottom tweeters out, huh? To get the tweeters out, there is this plastic ring in here that you have to take out first. And in order to unscrew this plastic ring, you need to take your microphone board out first. So take your microphone board out, and then you can, there are some locking tabs that hold this ring. There's a couple of them. There's one of them, but you gotta kind of pull them back. You gotta pull all of these tabs in this ring back at the same time, and then you can rotate this whole ring counterclockwise a few times. And yeah, like I said, it won't unscrew any further unless you have that microphone board out of the way. But yeah, I do need to make a proper, how do you do that? Much better. Okay. This is dead, right? Ooh, yeah, that's the dead one. All right. Let's go ahead and fix why that subwoofer had a meltdown. Before, actually, I do want to make sure really quick that the amp still works. Because even though the filters went bad and roasted the subwoofer, the amp itself is still technically working. So with a replacement woofer, it should work, albeit start to roast the replacement woofer. That's why I've got my own test woofer here, but yeah, beautiful. Okay, so the amp seems fine. It still has bass. Wow, those filters are really cooked, though. You can hear it. All right, let's get this wrapped up. Yeah, I would guess that roughly, like, very roughly, between 1 out of every 5 to 1 out of every 10 HomePods have a bad diode in it waiting to fail and cause no power. If not, then all HomePods will eventually need these filters replaced, because they are ceramic caps. All ceramic caps naturally decay over time. Whether they're being used or not, they have a shelf life. And these are what went bad and roasted their bass speaker. So inevitably every HomePod will need something worked on. It's a matter of time. Alright, everything else looks good, no concerns, no bad diodes, nothing stinky. Let's get this back together and get out of here. Are all of your larger parts from other dead HomePods? I'm guessing you source new board filters and diodes. Yep, new diodes and filters, of course. Whole boards, subwoofers. There is a place to get them new, but it's like 40 bucks for the subwoofer and 40 bucks for shipping. So for 80 bucks, I can practically get myself another broken HomePod. It's not worth it. Not a great price. So for those, yeah, I just get broken HomePods for parts. The filter failures, so, I mean, you will age your filters faster the harder you use your HomePod. But I can't tell you, I don't think we have enough info to really know how much that can affect it. But yeah. How much is a diode swap preemptively if you sent it in? So I do offer a maintenance service for first gen HomePods. It costs the exact same as most any other repair because it usually takes the same amount of time, parts, and effort as any other repair. And what we do here, like all the other ones, we crack it open, we see if anything stinks, we see if it even has one of those bad diodes in it, because there's a chance yours doesn't even have it. And then they all get new filters because they all go bad regardless of being used or not. They all also get a new rubber subwoofer gasket to replace the foam gasket because the foam will fall apart over time, and the solid rubber provides a better seal, so it's a slight upgrade. Not enough to throw anything off if you've got like a stereo pair, but enough to make a noticeable difference if you were to upgrade both stereo pairs. Differences in your room and placements of the HomePods are gonna throw off way more than one having a new gasket and one having an old gasket, unless the foam gasket itself is actually failing. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Shuffle Hands. Take care out there. Huh? I'm trying to finish this one right now. I think we missed something. I have to take this back apart really quick. What did we miss? What did we miss? Probably something silly like not plugging the power supply in. Make sure it's not the logic board because I do see a big dent in the middle of it too. It is, okay. The plot thickens. Yeah, their display needed to be replaced too. Okay. I think this HomePod has demanded enough parts from us. Let's get this back together. So at some point this one might have been dropped and it pushed the display in and it was barely making enough contact. By the time we got to it and ripped it apart, that was the nail in the coffin. So this HomePod got a new speaker basket, a new display, a new mesh, and a new subwoofer. New filters, of course. Quite a needy little HomePod. I'm not taking it apart again. There we go. Yeah, there it is. So here's what happened. It was making just enough of a connection to work until we went to take it apart. But that's why that stopped working on us. And of course we saw the evidence that this had been dropped on its head at some point with the... There was a dent on the main logic board around here. Thankfully the logic board still works. If it needed a new logic board too, I would have probably tapped out of it at that point. But
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
there we go. That is it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Goodbye.